Hi, I'm Greta of Dr. Greta Golf. Are you trying to identify the right travel bag for you as you begin your travel adventures? Watch this video to learn about the 3 important factors that will help you in determining which bag is best for you. And we're going beyond the typical product review because there's some important things you need to know. For the best golf tips, reviews, and insights, please below subscribe to my channel, and also please ding the bell so that you will get notifications about all of the videos that we post them on Wednesdays. Okay, so generally speaking, golf travel gear is that category of luggage and goods that are designed specifically for the purpose of helping you to safely and securely transport your golf gear during travel, particularly air travel. So now those fall generally into 2 different categories: hard-sided and soft-sided. I think that the names are pretty self-descriptive, but it's important to know that there's also this 3rd category, hybrids, which of course would be a little bit of hard and a little bit of soft. But it's important to note that for the purposes of the airline carriers and TSA, which is the government security agency here in the United States that secures all things related to air travel, a hybrid is considered a soft bag. So we'll get to why that's so important a little bit later in the video, but just understand that. So for the purposes of this video, think about the 2 categories, hard-sided versus soft-sided. One of the biggest advantages of the hard case is that it is easy prep and security for your clubs. You can take your regular golf bag, you put it in, lock, and you're ready to roll. And there's absolutely minimal chance that your clubs are going to sustain any significant injury or anything during transit. And so that is just an awesome attribute of the hard case. Like the hard shell luggage systems that are widely popular today, the hard shell golf travel bags are the same way. Super lightweight, easy to push and pull as you move along, and that makes them really easy to use and super friendly. Now, most golf travel bags that are hard-sided are about 5 to 6 inches longer than the soft-sided bags. Now, this is designed in such a way to help secure your clubs, of course, but this becomes a real issue when it comes to ground transportation domestically and abroad. Now, I've experienced a few issues, nothing that I couldn't overcome in using things like Lyft. The Lyft driver gets there and my club bag is actually too long for the car. But also you need to make note of this because a lot of times when you travel abroad, the vehicles can be much smaller, or if you're in group transportation, know that because of its hard design, it's not as forgiving and flexible as a soft shell. So that's something to consider. Now remember that unless a hard shell bag is built with an internal compression system, you can't stuff it. So if you're one of those golf travelers who maybe takes a quick weekend getaway, and you tend to stuff 2 or 3 outfits, a pair of shoes or 2, a dozen golf balls or 2 in the bag in addition to your golf clubs, so that you can just go easily with a backpack or a rollerboard onto the plane without additional checked luggage, then that's something really consider, because these bags, you kind of have to keep it pretty trim. I can carry my regular golf bag in there no problem, along with a dozen balls, another pair of shoes, and maybe a few other things, but certainly not like when I'm carrying a soft-sided bag. So that's something to remember. It's not expandable. So one big advantage of the soft side case is that it's really easy to store. When it's not in use, when you're at home, you can store it in a closet or a garage. It fits under a bed or a couch or wherever you need it to be, because generally, even if it's what we talked about earlier, the hybrid, it'll just lie flat and slide pretty much anywhere. So that's convenient at home, and it's also convenient when you're traveling. Maybe you're in tighter quarters traveling, sharing a room. You just don't have a lot of storage space, so you don't want the bulk of an additional bag or something like that. So the soft and pliability of fabric makes it nice and easy to store. Now, one thing that many people love about the soft-sided cases are the options. I mean, you can get a soft-sided case in just about any color, print, fabric combination. You can get it monogrammed, stamped, there's a plethora of things that you can do to it to make it your very own. And for many people, that's really important. Their luggage makes a statement about them. They feel like it's a part of their personality. And so soft cases do give you that opportunity. That's one big piece and one big advantage of it. I would caution this, though the pastels and the whites are really pretty, it's rough under that plane, and it's rough going down those conveyor belts, and sometimes the dirt and the grime that gets on there just can't come out. So think about how that bag may look after 3 or 4 legs, and runs around the airport. So just kind of give that some consideration. But options, we all love options. Now, traveling with a soft-sided case requires 2 pieces if you want it to actually work and protect your clubs. So the first part is the bag. It's essentially a canvas or some durable material, but a soft-sided bag. The other essential piece is what I think one of the manufacturers has trademarked the term, but it was commonly used term. It's called the stiff arm. And you gotta have it, folks. There's no getting around it if you're gonna use a soft bag. So look what I happen to find, folks. A stiff arm. So I want you to get a good little look here. You see, it's just essentially a long metal rod, right? But this is an equally important piece. So essentially, this is how this works. So we have the rod here, right? And we would put this into the middle of our golf bag before we put it, as we're packing up our bag and preparing to put it into the soft-sided travel bag, right? So I plant it in there in the middle, and I want this to be the highest point. So essentially, then say my driver and my fairway metals and that type of thing, I would try to get them to a height right under here. And so this would be the tallest point in the bag. So the key here is that if this is in the center and it's serving as a protective umbrella, if you will, around as many clubs as possible, then you zip up the travel bag and secure everything. In the event that this is going down, travailing through the conveyor belt system or whatever the case may be during transit, and the bag takes a harsh blow, right? So there's blunt force trauma, boom, and this hits the ground. What happens is that the stiff arm is designed to absorb that impact and hopefully prevent your clubs from meeting their demise, because after all, your clubs are most susceptible to breakage and damage right at the area between the club head and the shaft, which is called the hosel. It's another lesson for another day, but that's called the hosel, and or a snapping of the shaft. So if we can keep everything nice and straight and protected, then that minimizes the impact, the likelihood of damage, and that's why a stiff arm is an essential component to go with the soft side bag. Now, we'll say this, folks. Not so long ago, I was taking a trip. It was a business trip too, and I had my clubs, and I think we were mid-flight, and oh my gosh, I realized that I had thrown my clubs into my soft-sided bag, but had forgotten to put the stiff arm in there. So essentially, my clubs were just traveling, just as if they were in the back of my truck here, in my local hometown. I was terrified. Now, as I rushed down after to pick up my clubs from baggage claim, I checked them out, and they managed to make it okay. But I will say this, I would not recommend that for anyone. I think it was more luck than anything that they survived that, but I wanted to share that with you. It can happen, but don't bet on it. So folks, as we know, the devil's in the details, right? For years, the airlines have required us to sign a waiver of sorts for most every kind of bag. Recent years, most of the major carriers have gotten much more rigid and insistent about the fact that you have to sign what is called a limited release. Folks, I need you to pay big attention right now. Big attention. What does a limited release mean? A limited release simply means that the airline is not responsible for any damage that occurs to your clubs during transport. Full stop. That is an important consideration. Each of us has our own level of risk tolerance, but I think it's important that we have information so that we can make the best decisions for ourselves. So that's what we're doing here. And now that we know that, we can keep going with choosing what's right for us, right? When you combine both work and leisure, I've had an extensive amount of experience in lugging golf clubs around the airports and places around the world. So I can also say that I've had pretty good luck in not experiencing too much damage to my equipment. But sad to say, in more recent times, I began having problems. And so that's what really prompted me to dig into this a little bit more and to get an understanding of what's going on, because there have been some significant changes. So when I began asking questions and trying to figure out things, I realized, and was kind of brought to my attention in a couple of different ways, that there was one really important variable that was now in play when it came to my golf clubs during travel. TSA. So here in the United States, since the unfortunate tragedy of 9/11, the scrutiny of our baggage during air travel has really intensified. So when you roll your clubs over to the oversized baggage claim place and drop them off, your bag goes through some things. A lot of times your bag is essentially dissected, and I don't know if a lot of people realize that. So essentially, think about all the things, unfortunately, that a golf club could harbor. I mean, it could be holding drugs, it could be full of a weapon, your bag could be holding all types of things. So they really do kind of get in there and a lot of times turn your bag upside down. For those of you who have traveled, sometimes you get your bag back and every club is on an opposite side of the bag, or inside out, or whatever the case may be. But a lot goes on with your bag. Now, we all want to be safe and secure, but the thing to understand about this is that if someone's taking your bag apart, in the interest of security, they're not really paying attention to, nursing and nurturing and making sure that each club is back in a good position and properly wrapped and secured. And when you're traveling with that soft side bag, here comes the biggie, they're not making sure that that stiff arm is in the proper place or position. They may have adjusted it. It may not be tall enough. They may be put it to the right, and where they put all the fairway clubs and your driver to the left side, a lot of things can happen. And now that's where we can run into a situation, because if that bag has been, and the components of your bag have been jostled or moved, and then now it's beginning its journey down the conveyor belt system to be loaded onto the plane, along with the ride down at the bottom of the plane with tens of thousands of pounds of other luggage moving around and so on and so forth. Guess what can happen? Damage. Big damage. So I'm not here to make a decision for anyone. I will simply say this. I do travel with golf clubs quite often in air travel, and I have converted to pretty much being an exclusive user of hard side cases now. I can't afford the time or the expense that comes with assuming the total liability of my bag and my equipment when I'm leaving it into the hand. I don't have a choice, right? I have to put all my trust and faith that someone else is going to take care of that equipment. I just don't want to take the risk anymore. As you see, I've sustained some damage. I've been able to get things worked out pretty quickly, but it's not a risk that I'm willing to take. But everyone, again, needs to make their own decision and assess their own risk tolerance, which is why here at Dr. Greta Golf, we're all about giving you information and insights to help you get ready of a lifetime of great golf. So please do comment below. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we love to have you here. We want to let you know. We want you to get notification every time we post something new, and become a partner. Become a part of Dr. Greta Golf, the Dr. Greta Golf community. Comment here. Please find me at one of the many links below. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.